trying hard every single time, but the results are not there. The fact that they won, quote unquote, the last year LCQ, I don't think it's winning a tournament. It's just getting a ticket towards championship. It's not winning an event, because that's not the full competition that comes from the same region. It's literally just the guys that didn't go through to champions in the first place.
Yeah, I think we last year we talked a lot about FPX and how they're almost there, almost getting there. For Liquid, is actually one step ahead of they actually get to the tournaments. The problem is that the results are never that outstanding. When you mention Liquid, everybody knows the players, everybody knows all the changes that they bring into the game themselves, but you never see them lift them a trophy.
Yeah, we got to this. That's if they aren't able to win. But if they are able to win, one of these teams will be heading to champions. And I want to make sure you guys at home know that today we are potentially going to see the most competitive best of five in our region ever. In the past, a lot of best fights we see are seeding matches. Don't get me wrong, seeding matches are very important, but both of these teams have so much experience in a best of five Kakuka. Although 6-2 looks good, but there's context here.
Exactly. We have to give a lot of context to this. I love how bloody this graphic is, because it represents what you just said, what we're going to see today. We see that Mech might be on the 6-1 on best of five wins and Liquid on the 6-2, but the context is that Mech has a lot of experience in international events. We're talking about one of them being Masters back when he was in the CIS region. We're talking about the Champions Finals. We're talking obviously about Masters 3. On the side of Liquid, the last time that they won a best of five was a Red Bull home ground right after winning that second one on LCQ. And it was a tournament that nobody took seriously because it was too close for champions and no team was showing anything. So kind of tricky.
Yeah, not on that, at Red Bull home ground, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but that was the moment when Fracture got introduced. That was the first tournament with Fracture in it. So there was a lot of question marks when it comes to like how teams will prepare for that. Will they actually just try to like hide strats or not? So that best of five, definitely the potential quality of that match was lower than from Mech's side.
Yeah, both are incredibly experienced in a best of five. Both are very confident when it comes to a best of five. But as Lothar and Kaku have just said, there is a bit of an advantage on the side of Mech. And I actually pose this question to Yumpy and see if this is going to affect them today. This is what he had to say. I'm now joined by Yumpy from Team Liquid. Hi, welcome back to the show. Now, it was a very grueling best of three yesterday for you guys against M3C. I know last year when you played against them at Icebox, it was a bit of a heartbreak situation. But the exact same thing happened yesterday. You know, the 11-5, you go to OT, and then you lose in OT. Talk me through what you made of that and how has that affected you given what happened last year?
It was not as important match as it was last year. Last year it was much more tougher. We didn't masters, but we still have a chance to make it to the champions, so it was not that big of a deal. I think all of us or some of us at least it 17 minutes of what happened last year.
उसमें 3 मिनट नेक्स्ट का आ गया.
Meant to be, but I think today is the day when we will beat the Gambit on Icebox.
Yeah, I mean, third time's a charm.
More 17 minutes to match.
I'm sure you've seen your old coach and friend Sliggy. He's been on the show with us over the last couple of days.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
He actually had a question for you, especially regarding to what happened.
आपको कितना टाइम दिखा रहा है वहाँ पे काउंटर पे बताओ? Count करते जाओ.
15:49. Sorry, 16 minutes. 45 seconds. 44 seconds. 43 seconds. Last match I had in
43 पे हो आप.
39, 38.
एक सेकंड. आप राइट क्लिक एक बार राइट आर्म दबाओ माउस पे. सॉरी कीबोर्ड पे. मेरा 26, 27 पे है. 16, 25, 24, 23, 22 पे है मेरा. आपका?
2-3 seconds back.
अच्छा एक सेकंड. मैं एक बार पॉज करके इसको. अच्छा आप 15 है. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. आपका क्या है?
8, 7, 6. सेम है.
हाँ 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. हाँ सेम.
Nice.
क्योंकि मैं चिल्ला रहा हूँ, आप सब चिल्ला रहे, समझ में नहीं आता कौन क्या कर रहा हूँ, कौन क्या देख रहा हूँ.
Lastly, I wanted to ask you, today's going to be a best of five. You guys have been very vocal in the past, rightfully so, that you're very confident in a best of five. You have an incredible track record.
Best of five आज final से करते bro आज.
You're in any kind of disadvantage because Meg have been playing
क्या
best
पूरा
of five
LCQ का final से क्या?
They won a best of five.
हाँ LCQ EMEA last time.
Maybe they have more experience.
EMEA में और NA में क्या फर्क है bro?
EMEA
Yeah, but I think still
like global नहीं होता क्या ये?
strength of all
नहीं, only
individual
EMEA का
solos.
region
I think the later the game goes, the
अच्छा,
better
इसमें
we
जो
favor
जीते EMEA
ourselves
के
as
चैंपियंस
we
है
all
बस।
warm up, and I think
नहीं
we
नहीं,
have the best
इसमें कौन
individuals
जीतते हैं
in
वो
the
लोग
world, and when you
चैंपियंस के लिए
क्वालिफाई
क्वालिफाई
होते हैं।
combine that individual
वो
knowledge
बहुत
and
है।
teamwork, we can improve and like we improve always during the match.
सेम टीम्स क्वालिफाई होते ब्रो हर बार। ये टीम
हाँ,
लिक्विड यही लोग होते हैं ना। हाँ, बहुत सारे टीम्स है और मैं देखा सो नाम भी नहीं पहचान सकता मैं। ऑस्ट्रेलिया के भी टीम पे थे दो तीन तो।
नहीं नहीं, बूम स्पोर्ट्स शायद ऑस्ट्रेलिया।
हाँ, बूम।
Thank you so much.
फेनेटिक्स तो बाप रे, एवरी मास्टर एवरी
हाँ,
चैंपियन,
हर एक में होता ब्रो। अभी
लेकिन जीते नहीं वो लोग कभी।
जीते नहीं। हाँ, और ये फेज भी अभी खेल रहा फेज देखे?
कौन सा फेज?
फेज क्लैन ब्रो।
अच्छा हाँ, फेज क्लैन पे, हाँ फेज क्लैन भी कभी नहीं आया। नहीं, फेज क्लैन मास्टर 1 में आया शायद, याद नहीं है।
the more likely you are to making mistakes.
I think he's saying that because in pivotal moments,
18,
the game goes, there's always like round where
15,
Yampy goes
14,
4K.
13.
It just like turns around everything, you know? It's like
Yesterday was nuts.
yeah, yes, but we also had a Yampy 4K in overtime, from what I remember. But in general, like both teams, I actually kind of in a similar direction. That some players I feel like benefit from the longer matches, just like Nats and Yampy, and some players don't. Like Chronicle, I feel like he gets impatient when there are long matches. He's a little bit too aggressive, sometimes too easy to read.
And also, if you want a long match, like Mech are gonna give it to you. They don't care. Like if they want to play 10 overtimes, they'll play 10 overtimes. But when it comes to the pressure and what Team Liquid have been facing, especially throughout this year, Kakuka has been kind of up and down here and there.
Yeah. We love a good heat wave. But yeah, especially if we think about what happened last year and we take a look at them coming in finalist in Champions at the beginning of the first stage. This is a graphic that represents the pressure that Liquid have been feeling. You see that it starts to go down after having an okay split.
इसका ग्राफ भी बना दिया ये लोग। क्या ये?
What happened at Masters 1 because they develop an imposter syndrome of we are here,
Imposter
but we
syndrome
cannot
कहते
take
हैं।
this seriously. But everybody is like pointing at us, being like, "Hey, you should not be here." But now you
ब्रो
have
आपको क्या लगता है कौन जीतते फर्स्ट मैच? मैप शायद अभी बताते शायद मैप बैन करते शायद।
मैप M3
M3 लग रहा मेरे को 50-50 लग रहा ब्रो, पता नहीं क्यों। मैं M3C का प्रीवियस मैचेस भी देखा 2-3।
Look, I can't take this graph seriously because
I think
there's
3-1
no way that you didn't use
Team
Comic
Liquid.
Sans
I'm not Vincent.
You need to call Vincent and let
क्या
him
बोल रहे? समझ में नहीं आ
explain this
रहा।
is how you do it. You
3-1 Team Liquid.
You do
Win-
like
win.
some graphical like
Team Liquid जीतती बोल के बोल रहा
like very
हाँ,
crude
3-1.
ones, you know?
This is a serious topic, Lothar.
Exactly.
All right, we'll call Vincent next time to get
Jump
to make
is-
this one. But yeah, I think I agree with you. The pressure now.
और
is
इन्हें
they have
फैनेटिक में
run
कौन है
out
ये
of
बंदा?
excuses.
इन्हें
The
ना
excuses have run out.
इसका नाम
But
क्या है?
when it comes to side of Mech,
फैनेटिक का लीडर कौन है ब्रो?
they're still
हाँ,
kind of
Booster.
fan favorites.
Booster,
I'm getting
इसका
this
हाँ,
feeling
इसका है
from,
ना?
like, Twitter, Reddit and so on.
हाँ,
A lot
तो
of
उसका
people
स्ट्रीम
want
देख
to
रहा
see
था
this
मैं
team succeed.
जब वो बीट
And
किए
I
थे
actually
फैनेटिक
spoke to Red
फैनेटिक्स
Guard's
को
older
फाइनल्स
brother,
में
Ragnar,
सेंटिनल्स
who obviously is
जीती थी याद है?
fully backing his brother
हाँ,
right
हाँ,
now.
हाँ।
And he
हाँ,
said
तो उसके
when
बाद
it
उसका
came to
स्ट्रीम हुआ था तो
watching
उन्होंने
Mech
बोला
play Liquid yesterday,
उन्हें
I
लगता है
said
कि
to
वो
Igor
सबसे अच्छा
that
खेलते हैं
he
बट वो
needs to
सच
pay
नहीं
an
है।
ambulance for me. My
एनए में
hands and
लोग
legs were
खेलते हैं
shaking.
बट
I
वो
was
बहुत
so
लकी है बोल के
stressed.
बोला
I think every single
Ah,
person felt
Sentinel
that.
just
That's so
hype.
relatable.
Everybody can
most
relate,
of the
and
hype
he's
comes from
definitely
fanboys.
talking about what was going on Icebox, the
हाँ,
way
like
that Team Liquid started
Masters
turning things
like
around, just
first
like last time,
international वाले win
the
आया కానీ
never-ending
I know, I know, I know.
So I
కానీ
think that
ఫస్ట్
this is
Valorant
what we're
మొత్తం
going to get today.
ఫస్ట్
I don't think
వాలరెంట్
that the maps are
ఛాంపియన్షిప్
going
లైక్
to be
ఫస్ట్
very
వరల్డ్ కప్
one-sided.
ఉండేది
Yo,
100
Siggy,
టీమ్స్ కలిసిరు బ్రో
did you get
నాకు
more
బాగా
stress
గుర్తుంది
watching Liquid
You know
or
Hiko,
did you
right?
get more stress by playing in the game?
Ah,
No,
yeah.
watching
Adi,
it, when you're on the sidelines and you're
हाँ, Hiko.
not in control, you can't.
That
input
only
the game
happened
like
in
everybody else in the
NA.
timeouts. It's so stressful,
Not
just
on-
kind of watching everything unfold and not having any
The
impact.
first
Is,
one
it's
was
so
100 Thieves.
It's giving me barber feels from when they were
100
covering
Thieves
out
was
there.
dream
I've
team.
never
bro.
seen Sliggy
Dream
like
team.
proper smash a
But
desk before, to be fair,
the-
Barber level.
I'll be honest
The
with you, when
kick
we
no,
have seen
dream
at
team.
Masters the coach's reaction, like I think that was
Yeah.
very vital. to how the viewers
And it was raw.
resonate.
No, no,
Because
Asuna
you can
is still
see
in
that there's raw
100
emotion
piece.
between there's a connection between the players and the coaches, and it's very important. Just kind of like in football,
मैं
you see
क्लाउड
coaches
में
go
था
like,
बाद में सेंटिनल्स वाले ले
Is that
लिए
what they do? Is that?
I think
Yeah,
so.
that's exactly
I don't know.
I don't watch.
I feel like Sage
हाँ,
will
गया,
have to
गया।
give you a lesson in
मतलब
a
लोन के लिए
sideline
लिए थे वो
reaction
लोग।
next time.
हाँ, हाँ।
Yeah, but we speak
चले
about a
गए।
lot
Full
of
time select on it.
emotions, you know, watching Meg, them
बेचना
probably
नहीं था
being
उसको,
quite
बेचारे
emotional
को।
playing. But there's one man who's always stone ice.
Would you
hot
buy a
off the
team
court,
if you
that
were
is
a
Nats,
billionaire?
And this is what he has
I
to
would.
say about
Yes,
today's
of course.
matchup.
I would buy a team.
I'm
मैं
now
इंडियन
joined
टीम
by
को
Nats
खरीदता था।
from M3C. Hi Nats, welcome back to the show. Now,
इन्हें क्या
before I get into
शौक
all of
उठाने?
the questions and nitty gritty, I wanted to ask you about that clutch yesterday on Icebox, the 1v3 when you planted up on B side. Talk me through, you know, what was going through your mind and how did you manage
उसका
to
सूरत
clutch
देखो
that
किसको
out?
याद है बे उसको बता रहा हूँ उसको सूरत देखो उसका
Yeah, actually the clutch was insane. but,
सही है ब्रो किसको याद रहता
as for
ब्रो
me, the better clutch would be if I won 1v5 when it was before the overtimes, but yeah, on overtimes
बहुत
actually I
लग
like the
करता है
better
भाई।
wins
हाँ
because
सही में
overtimes it's also like
बहुत लग
shaky.
करता है।
But yeah, the clutch was it was
इसका
about
स्ट्रैटेजी
like,
ये रहता
because I
पूरा
know the info
Lurk
that
करना
to
lurks
be behind the
and
yellow,
Gets
I
frags.
know info about the third one.
some
So
and
in
people
my
call
mind,
him
it was
rat.
like,
Rat.
I need to try to kill
Nat
out
नहीं rat.
with
He
my
just lurks.
ultimate and we'll see how it's gonna be. Luckily for me, I found the kill back yellow. I decided to put my ulti not on top
Ulti.
floor because everybody of us knows the bug with the Vibe ultimate. It could be like only on top floor. Because of that, I decided to put it like underground. Luckily for me, I found the kill on screen. And after that, it was like 1v1. I know the info about Yampi, and it wasn't hard to win that. But yeah, as for me, it was a bit. It's more about the gamble, I guess. In that kind of situation, I guess you have to gamble because of that, it's hard to win. You can't predict everything.
I mean, apparently you can, because every time you're in that situation, you tend to win.
Neon,
I do
neon,
wanna
neon,
ask about
neon.
your form, because you are in prime form, Masters 3 winning Nats right now. What do you owe that to? What's the motivation? Why do you think you're playing so well right now?
ऐसा अल्ट वाला बोल दो उसको
Actually, I'm just playing the game. I don't have.
क्या बोलते
that
अल्ट मार
kind
का
of
डायलॉग
things in
बोलो
my mind. I'm
अरे
just
याद
don't have
नहीं
like always.
Here
I
we
still
go
have
क्या की बोलती
problems, like it always
Ah,
happens,
here we go, here we
but
go.
I'm just
Here
playing
we
the
go,
game, I'm
बोलती
just
बोलती
having fun with the
Here
game,
we go
and that's the main point of
Go,
me.
go, go.
I'm not overthinking about that. Prime form, not prime
ब्लू
form.
ड्रेस डाल के आना
I
था
don't care
पूरा
about it. I'm
नियॉन
just
चिल्ला
trying
रहे
to
थे
do
चैट
my
पे अभी
best.
चिल्ला रहे
I'm
वो लोग
just
नियॉन
winning
नियॉन
the
बोल
game.
के
I'm trying to do everything what I can do for my team, for being better on tournament.
Who is this
But the
guy
main
bro
point
क्या है
is
ये
for
सब
me is just having fun on every
Nats.
match.
I mean, that's
M3
working out, so keep doing what
का,
you're doing. And lastly,
IGL.
today's going to be a rematch
अच्छा
from
अच्छा
yesterday.
IGL
It's a
okay
best
fair
of
enough
5 as well. Talk me through, you know, being a free agent right now. How much pressure is there to prove
gamble
yourselves
अच्छा था
and
ना
win this
M3
tournament and, you know,
weird
considering
name
your future for next year?
gamble अच्छा था
No pressure at all. It's overthink in my opinion, because if you're gonna think a lot to show yourself for future, yeah, to show better side of you, in my
फर्स्ट
opinion,
थ्री
it's all
टीम्स को भी
about
रिकॉग्नाइज करना
overthinking.
ब्रो काली
Just play the
फाइनलिस्ट को
game,
जीते
just
सो
have
करे तो
fun,
क्या ब्रो
do what you
इतना
can
मेहनत
do,
करते हैं ये लोग
and we'll see what's gonna happen.
I have full faith in you, Nat. Thank you so much for joining me today, and good luck in the grand finals.
Thank you so much. See you in the grand.
क्या बोला उन्हें
He
See you in?
makes things sound so easy, you know? He's just having fun, killing 1v3 in overtime, putting his Viper's ult down, chilling, beating people in a 1v1, billabim, balabom, bosh, so far it's done. If only we could all be like Nats.
Look, I really love. How do they say that in NA? I hate and love Nats.
I heckin' love, yeah.
So,
To check.
I had to double check. You know, I'm not the best with memes. Anyway,
nice
it's lovely
Cringe.
to watch Nats because he's one of the smartest players. You can literally see how he like isolates 1v1 angles and gets an advantage in a disadvantageous situations for him. He's phenomenal.
He's completely as cold as he has been delivering for
Bro,
the
मेरे को एक
longest
doubt है
time already. The fact that he's still with the same mentality
Yes.
proves us that the old Nats is back.
नियॉन टर्किश है
like
शायद
he said,
नहीं
he
नहीं
doesn't
नहीं
really
फेयर
care
टर्किश
about
है
his prime form, but
हाँ
look at the stats beg to
कौन
differ.
Look, those are the stats
Timber,
from this liquid
Italy से है
last chance
Timber
qualifier.
France.
Wait, what's
फ्रांस फ्रांस ओके फ्रांस Astra,
Yeah,
probably
Liquid
Jamaica.
Champions qualifier.
Cypher.
I said it, I'm not the best with memes, but those are the stats
Look,
of this tournament. It's absolutely
then
insane
Cypher Morocco.
what you are seeing here. Like, first, his KD is through the roof. Like 1.5.
Yes.
It's
Huh.
absolutely insane. But when you look at his damage, you can see where he is performing the best. On defense, he's dealing almost 50 AD. So damage on
Brim and Viper,
more than
America.
attack. He's an anchor that you will always
No, kill the
want to have
German.
on your side. His agent pool is wide.
No,
Most
German,
of his,
German.
this is
Japanese,
9 maps played.
Yoru.
Viper was being picked 5 times.
Sage,
He's absolutely
Sage,
phenomenal
China.
with multi-kills as well. In 9 maps, he had
India, I
5
think
quad
next stage in
draws,
India
which
से
is
रहता शायद.
mental.
I
He
want
had
to see India का
13
dialogue कैसे
triple
रहते.
kills and 40 double kills
नहीं
in
मतलब
9 maps. But also, fun fact,
रेंज में
Sky
जाके उधर
Australia
नीचे
है.
रूम में रहता ना.
स्काई ऑस्ट्रेलियन है.
his fan
देखो
हाँ, Sky
पूरे
Australia.
कॉन्टिनेंट्स कवर कर दिए ये लोग. हमारे कहाँ है ब्रो? इंडियन कहाँ है? सब कॉन्टिनेंट.
Sheriff more times than a vandal in all of those
नेक्स्ट
continents.
इंडिया से रहता शायद पक्का. केक बोल तो
Gone
वो
straight up.
रेंज के नीचे के रूम में रहता ना.
हाँ.
उसमें विक्रम बत्रा उनके कुछ नाम है इंडियन शायद इंडिया.
विक्रम बोल के लगा नहीं लगाना ब्रो उसका नाम. कुछ अच्छा लगाओ नाम. क्या इतना क्रिंज नाम लगाते क्या कोई?
विक्रम बत्रा.
On defense on Ascent. That is insane. And we're talking about a map where Nats used to play that Cypher and everybody was like, it's impossible to get onto A because Nats is playing there. But I think we need to be quiet.
I think Team Liquid are having a huddle.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably like, don't go to Nat's side. Anywhere else but Nat's. Figure out where he's playing and just run to the other side. But I do want to talk about maps now because usually, you know, we can speculate, we can build it up. But it is best of 5, so we're only going to see 1 map taken away by each team, and then we're going to have a 5 map. So let's just throw it up here because I think, as always, Meg usually bans Haven.
Yeah.
I'm not really expecting to see it today.
Neon.
But yeah, if we could just bring the maps up and see which 5 of them we're going to be seeing today. We are going to
Ice Bind. Oh, okay.
and Icebox, Ascent, Breeze, followed by Split.
My favorite map, boy.
goodness, we need that split. We need it.
It literally is the last map, and it could be the last split in such a long time for us to see. I think it would be maybe for. Don't say that. But yeah, I would really
Split
like
आया
to get
bro.
to that third
Finally.
one. My surprise here.
वहाँ तक जाता क्या?
when
आपको
I
लग
see
रहा है वहाँ
this
तक
is
जाता
that
बोल के?
Team Liquid has decided to go for Icebox as a first pick. You talked to Yampi. We know that he is very eager into performing onto that map. I think it's kind of bold to maybe not repeat Breeze after what happened yesterday.
I mean, we expect an OT on map 2, right? It's gonna take like 1 hour and 37 minutes to resolve Icebox itself. So,
When's the night play?
you know? Yeah, but in general, I feel like the first 2 picks are actually advantageous towards Mac, which is interesting, right? If you want to reverse sweep them in a best of 5, that also goes hand in hand with what Yampi expressed, that they are performing better the longer the match is. So maybe they're like, we'll pick our 3 best maps at the end.
I'd love to see that we're going to start on Bind because we talked about it a lot. And yesterday, when you 2 guys were here on the desk, we saw a different face of Meg being extra proactive, having a different plan for every single round.
On
so
defense,
I really
yes.
love that we're getting that as the first one.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're going to get Bind first. Mainly because our big-brained telestrator analyst, Sliggy, has broken down some integral game plans we might be seeing today. Over to you, Sliggy.
Thank you, Insu. Yes, I'm putting my coach cap back on for this one for sure. Right, we're going on, and I just want to talk about game plans. And basically, game plans is normally between like the IGL and the coach. They're kind of working out a strategy, how they want to approach the map. So I just want to look at Liquid's approach on the defense side. They really want to shut down Hookah early, right? You see Yampi shoot the boombot, and then we have a judge in here to punish. Something that Link was doing all the time. Now Nivea is taking over. We have the smoke there as well to make sure they do extra damage. So just making sure that they can't get much map control. As we get later onto the game, they actually go away
क्या
from
bro?
this game plan. And we start to see
720p
them
में कर रहे
giving
क्या?
up Hookah control.
Stream ये
And
लोग
this is
क्या है
when
वो?
Mech actually
इतना
realized
pixelate हो रहा वो?
how strong
Yeah,
they can be
same.
in just their executes alone. If I just pause this before we go in.
Riot.
If
Are you
look at
watching
the
this
minimap
one?
here,
What the
you
fuck
can
is this
actually
shit,
see
bro?
that there
Of
is
course you're watching
3
this.
people,
What is this
right?
quality for?
There's actually 3 people over towards the side. So
हाँ,
they're
strategy बता रहा है ना, ठीक है, देखे.
stacked. And how mech normally play is they like to try and find the sites that they try and play more of the map and try and manipulate the rotate. They kind
मेरे
of
कुछ
realize
नहीं दिख रहा
after this
इसमें.
round that actually
काली
they can
बीरज
just
बोले वो लोग
overwhelm
बस
sites
वही
all
कर
the
रहे हैं ये
time.
लोग
They're
बड़ा
just
बड़ा के
so
बोल रहे हैं ये
good.
लोग.
Maybe the defense isn't the best in terms of
सही में देखो bro.
dealing with the hits and the strategy.
बीरज
that's
बीरज
going
that's
in.
it.
So
That was the
you kind of
call.
just see them actually adapt
ये
in
लगा
terms
देखो.
of their attack style, and they just start going a bit more aggro, and just we start seeing as we go into the later game, you actually just start seeing 5-man hits just off the back, just straight away. This is the perfect example. You're going to see them use a lot of utility here to push off Yampi, and they, if anything, they overuse utility, right? They're just making sure that there's no chance that this guy can get a shot off. He has to TP back, and they're just overwhelming the side. That's the first Prowler that goes out. You're going to see another one, and then you're going to see an Omen flash as well. Just making sure that he has to back out, and then they just push onto the side, overwhelm. Good thing to know, again, just
हम भी करना bro.
right? 3 people here, but they still win. They're still capable to overwhelm, even though essentially Liquid have 3 people there.
पर है तो उसको blind वाइन करके उसको पीछे TP करा के side push करके but मैं फिर से pick करता bro पक्का.
Go over, and this round right here is straight after another aggressive round as well. So the round prior to this, they push 3-man's showers, and then we see them now going super aggro, making sure that they're taking a lot of map control, and just if you look at the mini map here, just making sure that everyone from Liquid is just in this area. They have no map control, and basically they're just trying to condition them to realizing that they can't take much map control. If you want to take it, you have to use utility. Maybe you have to default, and it just means that they're relying more on like mid-rounding, and essentially with Liquid they don't have like an IGL that essentially is born and bred IGL. It's more someone put like into the IGL position. So they're really kind of playing off the weaknesses of Liquid. And yeah, I just thought it was a really good game plan. Pretty much like, I think it was 3 out of the first 5 rounds on defense were just aggressive. So Yinsu, kind of interested to see what they go for today.
How was the Lothar? I need to rate. I need to
Grand Prix. In general, I'm very happy of what Slick just explained, because yesterday we were actually discussing all of that, because it was really impressive that Mech is able to iron out all of the small things that were always a little bit, let's say, hectic for them on the defense. The defense is the win condition, but they were never as proactive as before, and they are, let's say, setting up traps against Liquid that were very effective in the past, and Bind here right now, I have very, very high expectations.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about the compositions we saw on Bind. Of course, these 2 teams played that map, as Sliggy said, already. Yeah, as you guys can see, these compositions, not expecting any changes, surely. They're just be running this, maybe even the game plan that Sliggy spoke about as well going into this map.
It has to be the same one, especially if we take a look at Mech's composition and them not playing with the chamber that is almost mandatory in all of the maps. It calls for something different. It calls for a different...
Chamber नहीं कर लेते MC3 वाले.
Even starting wanted to start on the attack, so it's completely different. We do not expect really changes from one day to another unless they have something completely crazy and out of the hat. But
Red God Reina.
Oh my God! Please don't do this.
But 100% win rate in a best of 5, Lothar.
Fantastic. Has to be good. Has to be good if it worked. Something I wanted to point out is Sliggy actually talked about it and showed it on one of the rounds. Liquid, I feel like, didn't realize that against this composition from Mech, they can't really play on site. They cannot be reactive. With just Raze alone, you have really big issues with holding like backside of B, for example.
क्या bro? 3 minute था ना? 3 minute हुआ बस. 3 minute, 4 minute हो गया bro. क्या हुआ ये? Start नहीं कर रहे?
You have almost no place to stand. So it's a big issue for defense, and I feel like, I hope so.
Attacker spawn. हमको मालूम नहीं था भाई.
And they're gonna go more for that.
ये lobby A exit.
Oh, this I did not know. Showers bro. This is showers bro.
Yeah, showers.
Or into the agent select here now. Again, we've seen them play this map already. This is the best of 5. It's a marathon, not a sprint. However, Kakuka, considering the map pool, Liquid, they need to show something here. Maybe even to pick one up early on.
Teleporter, okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was maybe Liquid picking this
आवाज आना bro, ऐसा कैसा?
Yesterday, so it's going to be kind of awkward, because actually against G2 they showed a completely different phase. That is the Liquid that we want to see, the Liquid that is ruthless. And I love what Sleeky was mentioning about Mech making the win condition, forcing Team Liquid to play into a mid-round call, because that from Liquid is not going to happen. If Liquid realize the same fact, they could have an easy one.
I wonder how he had that insight that they don't really have like a designated IGL.
Yeah, bro.
It's almost like that he was at Liquid.
Oh, you know, Team Liquid.
To me, it's also the Omen flash.
Zero Initiator. Oh,
in general, not
so
the compositions, right? So it's
boy.
I like the double controller composition.
M3 double Initiator, double controller.
Top unta match.
Nasty paranoias that were not only very aggressive when needed, but also I very like his counter spell way of using the paranoia of just basically stopping a push from happening and supporting his teammates.
I'm gonna ask for a quick prediction here, just for map 1.
Overtime.
Overtime? Okay, yes. Overtime. Who goes to who?
Goes to Mech.
Okay, Mech overtime.
Yeah, Team Liquid
wins the
Team Liquid.
Oh, Sliggy.
I just don't feel like Liquid look that confident on this map. I'm going to go for Mech.
Wow, every one of the dice is on the side of Mech here.
Bro,
And
first
like I
team
said, this is
Liquid
going to be a
pakka.
long day today. And
इन्हें नहीं बोलते क्या इन्हें? Team Liquid बोल के?
important grand
क्या
final
है
best of 5 that Mitchman and Tom is.
Let's go boy. हाँ क्या है? मैच स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ? अच्छा इन्हें कमेंटेटर है। रैंक बताओ इनका।
This is the series I was hoping for already. Yeah, if it ends on split, I think there's a high chance we're going to die. And the fact that Kukuka's already predicting overtime.
इन्हें ब्रिज की तरह दिख रहा है इसका।
I am very, very scared for how
इसका
today's going to go.
face
Honestly, bring it on. I think it's going to be an amazing.
क्या है ब्रो ये राइट वाले पूरे सबको ढूंढ के ला लिए शायद।
Of the best teams here in EMEA competing for this spot at Champions. And listen, before we even waste any more time, let's meet those teams and get into the game.
Chronicle, JD, Chaos, Nats, Redgar versus Team Liquid. ये का स्क्रीम इसको देखो इसके बाल देखे अभी
स्क्रीम एंड नवेरा ब्रदर्स
सही में
ओन ब्रदर्स
ड्रीम है ब्रो सबका ऐसा इंडिया में ऐसा खेलना Bind bro.
Of a potential 5-map series. And Tom, right off the bat, we heard from the desk their predictions, and they're all siding with Mech. Are you following that? Yeah, I think if anything, I went into this series and was going to they maybe try and float Fracture just to not allow this map through. They played it 4 times over the last couple of months. They haven't managed to win it once, even against the likes of Na'Vi. They've lost to Mech without getting to double digits twice now, and one of those was yesterday. There's not a lot of time for Liquid to try and fix what has been a fair amount of issues, and I think the only thing that could realistically change whether or not they're able to do that is going to be the individual players, whether you get those superstar performances from the likes of Navira, Yumpy, Scream, the players we know can take over games. The problem is we have a server full of those players, Mitch, so
time क्या हो रहा bro बताओ आपके काउंटडाउन में 127 126
no shortage of individuals regardless of what side we're looking at here. Team Liquid on the defense kicking things off and Bind, and they've seen very little. This has been a slow approach by Mech, as we've come to expect. It's a stack as well.
कितना slow खेल रहे bro ये लोग देखो
that defensive side over on A very much
EME में बहुत slow रहा था
just getting a pick
एनिमेशन है था
blindly
blind हाँ
on that attack faking out in towards A.
सिंगापुर की तरह खेल रहे हैं लोग अरे रे गया बच्चा jump it down
huge. They've already got the Prowler gone through hookah, cleared it out. The flash will double check no one's in the smoke or up close playing something nasty. They've got control. They've got the side. This solo hold of B has been torn apart. Mech with a plant and the ability to even reset fully back to long before anybody on Team Liquid can even fire a shot. Yeah, they've quickly managed to garner back some space though. Like not losing complete control, but already falling into the afterplan naturally. Soulcats is just
diffuse था bro.
He's already got it halfway. He's just gonna try and hold the whole
way.
What? Okay. Easy. Easy. अब चैट में टाइप करना कहते अब चैट अब ऑल चैट में टाइप करना ease बोल के वो लगा
सीधा आगे डिफ्यूज कर दे चलेंगे खत्म सीधा सेम स्मोक कर दिए खत्म डिफ्यूज
is a disaster. That grenade going down just a moment too late. The haunt came in. The idea behind that, we're gonna haunt
एक जना भी साइड पे नहीं था
but the person throwing that haunt, Tom, cannot see through the Viper wall. They don't know there's a
मैं
smoke
ऐसे डॉक करते ब्रो स्काई में वहीं से करता
you know, they're assuming, oh, we're gonna reveal him shooting through the smoke, easy round.
Okay.
No,
Oh, Satchel देखा उसका
under your nose and a quick play out of to try and recover. They've gone for a couple of pistols here, but for the most part, this is just an eco, so we're not expecting them to get too much. This should be Team Liquid absolutely demolishing them, and already they've gone for a strange play. You don't see teams go for the TP through bathroom versus pistols a lot, and the B site's now wide open because of that. That's the thing. There's actually now doubt from Mech because you've heard that TP go.
फेक करके रोटेट कर दिया ये लोग
But surely they didn't just abandon B. That would be a really weird thing to do in a round.
मालूम है इनको रोटेट कर रहे हैं देखो मैप देखो
from Mech. They're almost like, okay, we'll just call
उन्हें
your
देख
bluff.
टीपी करेंगे टीपी करके वो सोच रहे चेंबर और किसका
हाँ आगे. Getting anything more from him, it's going to be tough.
3 साइड पे, 2
definitely.
TP पे है.
Look,
I mean,
with these pistols up close,
team
maybe
link.
you got a chance. Maybe you've
Oh,
got an
okay.
opportunity, and I'm just looking at that shorty
Oh.
from Chronicle.
Oh,
Oh,
Spectre
it
up,
had a
bro.
chance. It did some damage, but
Easy.
that's all it's going to amount to. Team Liquid getting away with this second round, and it's not a disaster.
The only danger was actually Shados, that flank. And I don't know what it was that the Liquid were attempting. It may be just trying to fake out that player, confident in the retake they already had. But they sat in the TP, maybe just waiting in case somebody came from behind and went, because obviously they lost a lot of A control. They just in case was sitting there. But they also then ran out and just wide swung the player who was waiting to hold them. They cleared Shados. Okay, they lost a player, but I don't think he was expecting that many players to just be facing off against him. So yeah, Liquid, they do all right. The first couple of rounds have already been somewhat menacing, especially with how much space Mech have been able to get. And now they go in with the buy. But there is a couple of hidden rifles in there, Mitch, so Liquid still have an opportunity.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, look, with someone like Screen coming in, Vandal in hand, Demasic as well, and Sulcus already grabbing himself that orb, one closer to the Seekers that are just barely online. This could be huge for Team Liquid to gain some value out of this round. The problem is that being on the defensive side, they don't get to initiate a lot of these fights. And versus Mech, you can't really force that. You know, you can see from the hold that Mech are employing right now, if you were to attempt some crazy aggression to make value of this, you're shut down. That's exactly what Mech want, but they're not being given that. And with a minute left, we're starting to see players gravitate towards this A side.
But that was the thing that we sort of saw from Sliggy's Telestrator. A lot of what Mech ended up doing was just falling back into full team fights. And these executions were what really caused the success of their attacking half rather than the defaults. Obviously, they've still got to play defaults, especially in rounds like this, because you're going to expect aggression. But they are ultimately setting up again what is going to be the double initiator, just clearance of basically the entire close angle.
Oh, the opening for Screen.
And unlucky, bro. Unlucky, bro.
Shados has caught him up and above. And they haven't cleared out Bath, but they know that that's control that they're conceding on purpose. Yumpy has to be
भाई साहब 20 सेकंड स्पाइक भी नहीं प्लान किया लोग अभी कर रहे हैं लोग मालूम उनको सब यहीं पे है बोल के
they can stop him from being pushed, but they're not really going to be that
nice cover
on range with the
ऐसा देना ब्रो कवर अपने मैचेस में कोई देता ही नहीं भाई अपने बंदे सारे सीटों को चल जाते हैं ऐसा सीधा आता है अटैकिंग से
they find literally nothing and Sulcus dies, might be better for Demon to carry the Vandal.
Yeah.
अपने बंदे सारे सीटों को चल जाता है ओपोनेंट वाले को.
He'll get Seekers. So dying here is actually completely worth it, especially with that information game. You know Mech like to play slow defaults. You know they almost like to shroud you from having information. Seekers is a great way to counter that. And especially some of these closer range angles with the Spectre. Maybe he can catch somebody on the way out. Hearing mostly rotate, but of course Nats is it's not giving up that spike. Like, come on. You've already ninja defused versus him once today, and you ain't letting it happen a second time.
Of course, he was sat inside the orb as well. Just shift walking around inside of Lambs, getting some good timing. Decent stuff. Mech, one round on the board. They found it. They did some damage. Things look good, and they avoided most of the dangers there. I think even at the end, the fact that they're so cautious about taking those swings, you have Demasic up above in heaven looking for an opportunity. He just wants to make the round a little bit more costly if he can, and obviously support his teammate who was going in to maybe get a kill, grab the orb, and so on. But they didn't peek him. They didn't give him the opportunities. Demon just couldn't get a line of sight. Afterwards, a very disciplined play, which again, coming from Mech, it's not a surprise. But it's still a pleasure to watch come into this fourth.
This is Nat's like classic, I'm gonna try and just walk forward wall. Like already putting it down in place so that he could try and sneak through. The nade from Chronicle. Now, one of the things we sort of noted was that a lot of the time you would have some early fights into Hookah. This has been switched up from Liquid. They're now going to actually fight back into mid, almost try and deny what has been those sneaky Nats lugs. In fact, they're going to try and kill him. All pushing up. Yumpy's cleared that initial spot, and now they can fall back. And the fact is, they still have enough utility on the other side of the map to delay, just in case Mech went for a faster push.
You know, there were some chances there that Nats could have been snuck up on the wall, had a better position around lamps or something like that, and or even in the corners. The fact that he got caught off guard with that time.
ऐसा कैसे clear करते bro? ऐसा ऊपर हुक्का में smoke है.
That looked like a read out of Team Liquid. Certainly confident shutting down his early play. And those Seekers, well, they don't get a ton. They have revealed that there's someone inside of Hookah, someone on B long, but and they got destroyed. Still, they've got the rotation in on time. 3 players on B, and the blitz coming through. Chronicle on site, Vandal in hand, and he's still gotten it!
Remaining. Spike down B.
I know, Scream shutting down another couple. It leaves Shados alone 1v5. Now, we've seen crazy clutches from both of these teams before, but this would definitely take the biscuit if he was able to pull this one off. And with the amount of time remaining, probably just going to want to hold on to the rifle. Already having his ult online, so it's not even like he can peek in, try and get an extra couple of orbs that might give him something extra for the next round. But no, I really like that from Liquid. Some early aggression. They get that man advantage. They don't overface. They don't overheat. They don't go pushing deeper into mid to try and catch off angles. They fall back. And then with the amount of time that Mech almost not wasted, but used in the early round, that Seekers was enough. You go, okay, 30 seconds left. They're outside hookah. We know there's a majority of players there. Let's just try and delay them. And while Themasic and Scream do a fantastic job, even with Solcast in the mix as well, just have a crossfire that is very difficult to almost just dive out onto.
The start of this series already delivering for Team Liquid. I think that was a great hold out of Dima as well. Pressure he was under, able to grab the frag, secure the site, and keep the smokes in rotation to slow down that push, or at least cause some problems. This is a much quicker approach out of Mech. They're already right into it, and now I don't know if they will have detected Solcast. They certainly did see his teammate, and well, they've seen him now. This is getting awkward. Everybody's dropping, and the one guy that's stuck in to lock this one down.
I love the pace change. Like, that's the thing. You can kind of expect, if you're a Liquid player, that you have a little bit of time in the early round to almost set up ready. With Mech normally holding a default, they just change that pacing straight off the bat. From solid utility to...
Wallbang देख रहे हो वो कैसे करा उन्हें?
I think the Prowlers came through from Shados was sublime.
Flawless करते.
I don't think Yumpy had any idea where he was even after he TP'd back to his other anchor.
Okay,
so
okay.
Mech
उनका एक होगा.
for a second time. And more importantly, now the finances actually start to look a little bit more shaky for Liquid. Like, obviously, both teams not in the most amazing spots just yet. They haven't been able to do it. And I imagine, was that actually just a timing that he got past the Molotov that was thrown down? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Mitch, there was a Molotov at his feet there when Chronicle took the opener.
I believe there may have been. Yeah, and I think Chronicle came through, blast packing in just on the back of the last round. Dima takes him down, and this time he goes in for revenge. And look, that's something that Mech have tried a couple of times. I think mid-round has been when they've taken over control of hookah and tried to get some fights out onto site, but we haven't seen that level of success from it yet. I mean, that was ridiculous, and certainly something that's going to cause Team Liquid some headaches dealing with this guy if he keeps that up. We got a technical pause off the bat here, Tom. They'll have a little bit of a moment, but it doesn't look like it'll take too long. I see everyone running about.
Yeah, and I think going into this round, it's going to be an interesting one. You've got Orbital Strike close. Okay, Showstopper kind of close for Scream as well. On the other side, though, Seekers and that Showstopper basically online, especially if they fight for some of the early orbs, which is something I think you can kind of expect from Mech in these rounds. And this is kind of, at least for Liquid, more of a backbreaker. Now, one of the things that's been quite surprising in some of the more recent matches of Bind that we've seen coming out from Mech is that they have started to show more prowess when it comes to the attack, which was never Mech. Was never ever Mech. Like, you could expect them. Well, one of the times they played Liquid a few months ago, they went 7-0 on the defense. So it really is a big change, and I think a lot of that comes down to the addition of JD.
Speaking of which, it looks like he's spearheading this push. Well, aside from Chronicle, his flash will be the first thing on site. And then I assume Chronicle's on his way with a blast pack. Well, maybe not. That's fake blast pack. They think he's on site now. That's what that's all about. Sneakers going through, and they actually haven't managed to see the Brimstone on backside. Dima gets away with one. A quick showstopper to trade out. And, well, they're going to at least manage to get this spike down by the looks of things. Pressure needs to come through to deny, and there's just no way Team Liquid decide to run and blitz into that site at this point. Although they seem to be hoping that they are trying to bait them out with a fake plant, but very patient from the defenders, and eventually they will spring into action.
Back to Chronicle now. 1v2, the fallback already from Solcast just to try and double up. Not wanting to give this man any 1v1 duels, and that's fair enough. Been one of the best players in the world for quite a while. The swing from Solcast is risky, though. That was exactly the opposite of what I was expecting. The hold there, almost trying to bait off his teammate, and Chronicle hits both shots anyway. You can try and have that bait and switch, but the fact is, this man is phenomenal.
That is unbelievable. An
Abari kya?
incredible couple of rounds Chronicle is having right now. I mean, momentum up to 100. If for the man that's blitzing his way into this site, first guy in a lot of the time, and sure, in this round,
नहीं वो यम्पी आके इधर बैठ गया इधर उसकी गलती थी देखो. He's not even peeking.
I think it was a really nice adaptation in this round, and that is when they hear that initial push coming in, they duck back into the smoke to try and avoid the haunt and all the utility that's coming
वो
through.
कौन सा angle है वो कहाँ
That's why they didn't actually know initially, or it seemed that way.
Yampi such match fixing.
Same with Scream, because in the round prior,
अरे
they all got tagged.
अरे उसको सर पे मारा ब्रो. कैसे नहीं मारा ब्रो? शॉटगन से 2 बुलेट मारा उन्हें.
I think it was
अरे रे रे रे. Chronicle गया wall bang headshot.
He'll go down B side will too. Now everybody's got pistols.
Scream आ गया देखो.
There's a couple of sheriffs that remain.
Save
Like
it.
see a showstopper thrown through here. Maybe if it was a closer
Easy round.
Save.
Yeah, this
नहीं नहीं इको है ना. अरे क्या कर रहे ब्रो ये लोग? ए में क्यों है?
Yeah, any damage they can do would be nice.
Serif shield कर रहे क्या रे लोग?
I love how they're still checking A because they're like, where is Nats? Where is this man?
देखो देखो बोल रहा देखो लव करता हूँ Nats बोल के कहाँ है बोल
वही.
I know this is something we say like basically.
वो साला सीट पे आ रहा देखो एक को.
Like a quiet tournament for Nats.
वाइपर इच्छा ना है. देखो एक को आ रहा देखो धीरे धीरे सीट से.
Away from anyone else. Like he is.
दोनों वाइपर सीट पे खेल रहे देखो.
Class Masters winning Berlin form. And he's someone you definitely
Easy round.
have to worry about. The thing is, this whole mech team
इको था. Wow.
does look like a well.
क्यों मरे ब्रो फिर?
नहीं मतलब उन लोग के पास
पैसा ना.
I think that the pickup of Jade
हाँ मतलब वो लोग सेव करे ना
इसलिए. Like you have someone who can fill in these.
मुझे ये जानना है.
He has superstar potential, but in this team he doesn't need it. And I think that's a huge pressure off a young player's shoulders as well. When you consider him in Na'Vi, at least that initial roster, he had to do a lot
3-4
for them to even come close to it. Now, he could have a bad game, and theoretically they could still blitz anyone.
A attack कर रही है लोग.
That's very true. You know, I think overall, starting the point on Nats. I mean, this guy. We had the reasons that we suspected.
इनके पास बैकअप नहीं है ब्रो. बैकअप कर सकते हो लोग बहुत इजी से. बट एक बेटर.
Nats है ना.
हाँ Nats बेटर देखो.
Since pretty much the
उसको देखो. अच्छा रोटेट कर दे रहे. फेक. going B. अपने सारे बंदे ए पे बैठे हैं. चेंबर अकेला खेल रहा है साइड पे बेचारा.
It's just like, okay, you're gonna try and take that laps control.
That is incredible.
The rest of the team, not.
ये क्या क्वालिटी है ब्रो स्ट्रीम का. ये क्या कर रहा है इन्हें. मैं अच्छा स्ट्रीम करता हूँ इसके साथ तो.
यार मैं पूरा पिक्सल के दिख रहा.
मेरे को भी. OBS से कर रहे क्या?
Oh, it's gone towards the elbow. He's free.
Okay.
Able to take red.
क्या जंप है वो? क्या जंप है वो?
Might get caught. In fact, he won't. He's able to take down Nats, the showstopper.
अभी नहीं सेव करता.
More than enough cover, stopping a trade from coming through, and well, Shados is going to have a very, very tough time. I mean, these guys probably want to kill him, but they haven't got that many credits. So 40 seconds on the clock. It's tempting. Me go shoot some doors, but with 40 seconds, they're also worried that maybe he is on his way back. He's going to run through spawn, grab spike, get the plan. So everyone's playing this safe. Just lock it down.
Yeah, I feel like that's.
बिल्कुल नहीं रिस्क लेने का बोल के खेल रहे बोलूँगा.
At least my two players within the server, and I'm sure there's many who would disagree. There's a lot of clutch players, but I have a BS meter, and there's two players within this server that the BS meter goes off the charts. One of them is Navera, because genuinely sometimes he just has games where I'm like, it doesn't matter who you are in the world, you've lost. And the other is Shados, where there was a Spectre clip the other day where he just is in a Viper's pit and just sprays down 4 people. I don't think he even saw 2 of them. And you're just kind of sat there like, whoa. I don't understand how you've actually managed to win that round, but nonetheless, fair play. Good adaptation, though. They hear the flashes again. You're going to see all of that eventually going through. And it's just
flash है और
to strike over to take out Chronicle.
The second that trap got destroyed, it was on its way. Really good reactions, and I think that's something that for a while we've critiqued Team Liquid on defensive reactions. Haven't always been there. The toolkit maybe needed more definition. So far here on Bind, seems like they've done their homework. They've studied up, and they've got some good ideas to deal with mech. So though these rounds coming up one after another, and it's this guy right here. He's up against an operator that time and only barely gets away with his life. Yumpy Not hitting all the shots today to start up, but if he gets warmed up, I don't think he'll be able to do that every time.
Again, we see this early pressure. Information now being looked for from Liquid off the back of Soulcast.
उनको मालूम ए बी पे कोई नहीं है बोल के डॉक करा ना उन्हें अभी धीरे-धीरे आ रहे देखो ब्रिमस्टोन आ रहा है सीटी से इनका मूवमेंट देखो 4 लोग कैसे जा रहे देखो ब्रो आप लोग अपन वैसे नहीं जाते सब एक साथ झुंड में
Well, yeah, you are pushed completely back. And you look down at the toolkit, there's something to work with for Liquid on the way back in.
Okay.
He's playing through that Viper's pit. It's not going to be ideal.
Oh, Viper's
They've already
should be
used the Trailblazer up. They've got
वो अपन देखना ये सब नोट्स ले लो आप अपन खेलेंगे ऐसा
That was a crazy peek by Scream. He's trying to open the space for his team. They are here, but the flash
क्या ये क्या ये
He should never
इतना आगा फिर भी ले लिया
I will say you can critique the spray.
I can. Yes.
Sky ka flash plus
such a good flash.
Omen ka flash. Baap re.
So I'm gonna say that it balances out.
टाइम मोड ले लिए इसके बाद
No.
He was like क्या है वो स्प्रे क्या था
It's not such a good flash.
Three players were completely blind.
It was a good flash.
देखो आप दिखाते देखो
It was a good flash. I'm not saying it was a bad flash. Was it a good enough flash to?
Could you imagine?
अरे क्या है ब्रो ये
No. He hit him in the leg. It was a chance. It could have been the headshot.
Sky flash plus
Omen flash
The corner isn't
the
blind.
palace
Sky flash
I'm pretty sure.
There's paranoia there as well.
Bichare.
Such a nasty little
1,
crossfire
2
setup. I didn't even see that the first time because
और इसको लास्ट बुलेट लगा ब्रो
literally a paranoia comes through from Redgar that also blinds all three players. That's the only reason he doesn't die there. So I take it back. JD, that was a nasty whiff. Redgar, that paranoia was beautiful. Well done, Redgar. Round of applause.
There we go. I love to see the backtracking, but
I can admit when I'm wrong, you know.
Well, Redgar is coming in with the assist game. He's got the most on the server and almost more than everyone else added up. Fair play. Good man. Keep up those numbers.
The thing with that round as well though is that Mech just the second
ये हमेशा ये जा रहे हैं फिर बी रोटेट कर रहे हैं बी एक बार भी नहीं गए लोग सीधा
how are they going to retake this? It's so difficult without lamps control to actually get back into the A site. And that's where they've been pressuring a lot in these early rounds. Finance is still fine. Ultimate's not particularly good for either side. Showstopper available. And
अरे ने पुश कर रहा
to tag out Redgar. He should be dead here. Flash
आ गए
through,
अरे क्या था ब्रो
oh, that's the easiest kill Chronicle's ever going to get. He's gone down though.
Yeah, because Yumpy was following him. They didn't see
हो गया टीपी
traded out.
आ गया वो भी आ गया ब्रो देखो कहाँ पे ब्रिम देखो आ गया साइड पे ब्रिम देखो
helping them out so much. Dima flashed up.
अरे थ्रो ब्रो
But he goes down. And with Yumpy finding that
ब्रिम थ्रो कर दिया बेचारा
back pocket, they still need some way out, some way back into this site, and they have no idea whether Mech are going to go play some passive
interesting
suit, like way back on long with their snake bites, their flashes, or whether they're going to do this and have a nasty crossfire setup up close, and that's ready to swing on JD's contact.
आइया उसका बैरल दिखा ब्रो
Oh.
बैरल दिखा ब्रो उसका
Through the poison orb, expecting Nats to try and move, but JD's position, it might be a surprise. Who plays this when his teammate is already round the corner? He's wrapping in behind. The first is free. He's hunting for that second player, knowing exactly where both of them are. He can kill off Scream.
Oh my god, that's a good clutch, boy.
Perfection.
That was a great clutch, bro. That's a great clutch. अच्छा खेला वो वैसा खेलना ब्रो अपने टीम वाले अन्य से आई वाचिंग ब्रो I watching Anmesh Bhaiya. When you play slow, play like that. Rotation पे नहीं. यहाँ ऐसा खेलो slow.
Point of this play at the beginning. Look at the mini map right now. The point is for JD to take contact, and on the back of that Nats to swing. JD.
वहाँ पे Nats मर गया, then he changes position.
Where I am? Do I continue to hold and take the fight, or do exactly what he did? Try to outbrain them, outplay them. And as I said, they didn't know if these guys were going to just run back on long and play post plans. Well, they found out the hard way that they weren't. 6-4 on the scoreboard. Team Liquid aren't that far behind, but they're left with no money in this round, and that's the big problem. Very little way to actually fight out into this. And Chronicle, last backing around along. He's not the spot at Dima.
Oh, he's trapped. They every swing from here onwards is going to be a difficult one. Tour de Force gives them at least a little bit of hope, though. We've seen a clutch on one side, and if anybody's going to pull it off on the other side, it would be Yumpy. Bullet used, tag connected onto JD. Man above him, though, is not going to be expected, and it will be Mech with a 7. Something I want to add as well. So in that previous clutch, it was JD, Scream, and Yumpy. Now, Scream and Yumpy, even though Yumpy's still incredibly young, 2 of the most experienced players we have from CS in Valorant. 2 of the highest profile.
Kitna bro yahan pe ka
is still 18 years old and a brand new member of this team. Like if people don't realize that, maybe they look at the stats, maybe they look at like ACS and all these other things, or some of the poor performances he's had. JD just schooled 2 incredibly good players and completely outmaneuvered them at such a young age. Like genuinely. And I mean this to any potential bias to this Mech side. They might be going, oh, this Nats guy is nuts. We should just steal him. Trust me when I say there is not a player within Mech right now that will not be an asset to your team.
There's no weakness. There really isn't. We've already had the discussion about Shados and all that he can do, and yet if you look at the scoreboard, he's certainly not one that's, you know, stealing the cake here. It just shows the depth of this roster. And then Redgar, some of those paranoias, not the one last round, but other than that, have been absolutely on point to allow players like JD to swing out of that pit, find 3 kills, even with a massive mechanical error. Doesn't happen every day. It's just a really... The last 3 months we've been saying, or 4 months we've been saying we want Mech.
Position swap kar liya kya bro ye log?
And even when they had bad performances, we always just shrugged it off and said, yeah, okay, but world situation and so on. Give them time. Give them time to get back. And this is why. We knew that potential was there. They've made the changes, and wow, this is a fast push. But the Viper's Pit is waiting for Chronicle, so he won't get the space. And they were ready. Look, they're gonna snake fight down.
Yeah, they hear a blast back and straight away they're like, no. I'm using you. He's already out of snake bites. He's already out of snake bites.
Bahar nikal gaye.
Like that's how in the head of Liquid Mech are right now. He's used all of his utility up just to try and deny some of that early presence. Now Seeker's been used again. Look how deep the control that Sophos currently has, realizing that they need to try and challenge around the map. Mech are being diligent. You can see them using prowlers into close mid at the moment, just trying to make sure that nobody has been able to push up. And the only position that's really left, I think, is about to be checked, although Redgar might not have caught the jiggle peek of Soulcast.
Nice shot.
बहुत patiently खेला but मर गया bro.
The timing was perfect when the repeat came in. The advantage now sits to the attackers.
वही
And the reaction was to slow it down, spread
उनको
out.
मालूम bro वो rotate भी नहीं करते देखो अपने वाले होते तो rotate कर देते थे.
Put a smoke inside of hookah, start to cause problems. Now we look at the next adaptation, and it's to just ignore the pit. Hey, you don't need to plant over there. Instead,
ignore the pit
for middle, look for this fight, and it's Yumpy that they're going to need to take down. That operator has not been spotted yet. The element of surprise still there. 10 seconds left for this spike to be planted. They need to get it down here and now, and it's stopped. 6 seconds on the clock. The plant resumes, and they've dealt with Navera. The planter has been killed, though, and they haven't found Demasic.
क्या खेले bro?
Purely off of time. Team Liquid coming out with 5.
Yeah, I don't think we saw it, but I'm pretty sure Scream swung back and managed to just basically throw his life into the wind to actually deny that plant from coming through. So basically just being able to win off of time. It's something that, well, if you look at the current scoreboard, time has been an issue a couple of times. I think it's mainly just, I think Shadow saved in a couple of different rounds, but it's the initial swing that spam that came out from Navera. And then I think moments later, you see the flank out from Scream. He just goes for the planter, drops it, no time left, and nobody was actually watching that. So a little bit of a mishap for Mech. Still a very solid attacker side half, and now we need to see what Liquid
does. Second half. Round में ना दिख रहा मेरे को. Nice.
Big plans here on the attack. 5 rounds they start with. We look with the
Ooh, nice flash. But उसका भी flash हो गया.
Challenge Chronicle.
क्या बोलते हैं? इन्हें भी flash हुआ मालूम?
That ain't happening this time around.
Raise भी flash.
Lost their raise, but they've dragged rotations to the A site, Tom, and rest of Team Liquid are right outside of B.
That's currently sat in the tube of the shorty. I'm just premising that because I already hate it.
अरे बाप रे.
don't know.
my.
Surely they have to have an idea. Surely somebody has to check within this. He is still on the side.
Oh my god, okay.
मस्त पोजीशन था वो लेकिन
क्या खेला ब्रो ने?
Got scary. Look up inside of Hookah though. A fight about to ensue. Soul gets right out of the smoke.
उनको आवाज नहीं आ रहा क्या ब्रो ने? वैसा घूम रहा था?
On site, Team Liquid's numbers thinning out. Shados so painfully low. But not low enough. He can still cause problems. Tapping that spike right here and now. Chronicle down.
Sorry, nice bang, bro.
Team Liquid, they bound a wall bang from
plant
to finish it off.
हाँ
And
अच्छा.
6 will be found. They've
But
got
हमें वाले
the
खेलते
pistol.
नहीं
We
bro.
might be neck and neck soon.
Plant करके hold करना उसको. अपने वाले hold इसने
I
करते
know
हैं.
he got nothing, but still just watching Nash play around his own utility is one of my favorite things in Valorant. Like the way he was able to avoid that tiger. So
इसका ये देखो.
last second they didn't know
Pistol,
he was there.
काली pistol देखो.
This little after plant though from Yumpy
देखा?
is really nice. It only
क्या मारे
works
bro?
in
दो
rounds where he hasn't used up too many of his headhunter bullets, but they plant
Team
from a
Liquid
position
full
that
buy.
you can specifically
Let's go,
wall
boys.
bang, which is just really.
Oh full push. कोई नहीं है वहाँ पे पूरा खाली है.
Aggression right off the bat. Mech
अरे ये.
blitzing down through the A site, and well, there's not a lot left to meet up with on B. They've lost their team, they've lost the site, and well, they've lost everyone.
The idea is really cool. Like he jumps through the TP to
Bro, मैं कहाँ है?
paranoia
थोड़ा अभी जा
at
रहा
a
हूँ bro.
better angle to
ठीक है?
clear the players deeper into
फिर
mid.
कब आते
You guys playing करते.